Is so sweet. Yes, of course. I feel the same way about Jed. He's just one of those genuine people that hands down, you can trust, not
Yes.
a malignant or malicious bone in their body.
No, God, no, no. Him and Hallie are just the best
That's
people.
wonderful.
The
Aren't
absolute
they?
most genuine people.
Just in the interest of transparency, we have begun the YouTube live stream. The show has not begun, but we are live on
Oh, I
YouTube to
know.
let
We're
people get
good.
caught up.
We're not giving
Okay.
last names. It's all right.
Yeah. Um, one last name here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think well everybody knows my last name. You're the only one that we don't know your last name, Sim.
The
This
mystery
Miss
continues.
The
Miss
mystery.
Eponymous. Yeah.
Like
Because
share.
oh
Like
the other two.
share.
Right.
Right.
Because the other two have been on as guests before, and we introduced them and their
True.
bucks and stuff.
True.
So
True. True.
yeah,
True.
we tend to keep our guests. They keep wanting to come back and all that.
We kind
So
of adopt them and keep coming back.
mhm.
So
Like little
All
stray
right.
puppies.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say I'm more like a bad penny. I just keep turning up.
Oh, I love that. I use that phrase all the time. I love that.
Girl, you can turn up whenever you want to.
Ooh. Don't make me fangirl, Sheila.
You're seriously not that far from me. You better stop.
Really not. I'm like, oh wait.
I'm at the bottom of your state, basically.
I'm a
Mhm.
troll because I live under the bridge. So these are Yoopers. I live under the bridge, so I'm a troll. Yeah.
Where's
Oh my gosh.
Sure,
Morgan?
Michelle.
Side note, ADHD side note, Mary. Do you are you familiar with the Upers, the band?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Love them.
the 30 point buck.
Yes. Love them.
Yes.
Love them.
All right, I'm forgetting something here. Oh, I remember what I'm forgetting now. Got to do the radio station.
Jeez, Sheila. Just can't trust you, can we?
It does
Not
not
at
take
all.
much to veer off course. It does not take much.
I am. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, I am. Yeah, I am definitely eating up with the ADHD. And Morgan is coming in. What's up, Hurricane Momo?
Hey y'all.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. All right, I'm gonna get this ready and get the intro ready to go. And we are live. Welcome to the Hurricane Girls. I am Sheila Chappelle. You are joining us now on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls. Also on gcpr.live. We're coming out of the radio and into your face. Tonight we are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage, the Goddess's Curse on Mediocre Men and Nature's Happy Little Accidents. We are the Hurricane Girls, and we are here every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. If you miss us, you'll catch us on Spotify and Apple, or just come back and watch YouTube again later, because we are all gorgeous tonight. I am here with my friends here and having a great night. I do want to go into a couple of things before we introduce our guest today. First of all, I do want to say that I am excited to announce that we have joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We join because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. And if you feel our behavior or content has harmed anyone, please report it to CAN either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255, and they will help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also does need volunteers from our communities to help with their work. So if you have the skills that you think would be helpful or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out. Interested in getting credentialed and help us bring and build safer communities together. So I just wanted to let y'all know that we've joined that. That is an extra special feather in our cap, and we're happy to be part of that organization. Once again, Hurricane Girls, patreon.com/Hurricane Girls for all the extra stuff that you can pay $5 for, and get, $5 a month gets you all our extra stuff and extra clips there. I do want to let y'all know about our upcoming programming here, as we do have a lot of amazing guests. It seems like we've concentrated on music here in the next month or so, but coming up in March, we have folk singer Lucy Kaplansky. On the 11th, we will have Nashville up-and-coming country music artist Haley Mae Campbell. On the 18th, soul singer Miss Emily. And on the 25th, I will be introducing Amy Mosier Henry, who is going to be my co-host on a new Hurricane Girls podcast called Good Girls Gone Godless. We're going to talk about our life in the cult and how we deconstructed and how it affected us, as women. So that's going to be coming up in the next month or so. So keep your eye out for that here on the Hurricane Girls Network. And we are also happy to be on Ghost Claw Productions Radio, the Villains Guild Network, where all voices matter. And just happy to be here. Happy Black History Month. We will have a segment on that in the second half of our show today. But right now, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts. To my left, I don't know how it looks on YouTube, but to my left I have Hurricane Sim coming to us from the great state of Illinois. Hey, Sim.
Hello.
Hey. Sim is our licensed therapist.
Forgive my occasional cough. I still, I'm fighting the last drudges of the flu. So,
Sim is our licensed therapist. So, in case we need to go a little bit crazy, she is here to keep us sane here. And to my right, I have with me Hurricane Abby, aka Abby Rosemarin, from the state of New Hampshire, author of Simon & Schuster's The Year of Dating Myself. How are you, girl?
I am doing pretty well.
Great. Glad to see you, and I love that smile. And I also, today we have with us Hurricane Mary, aka the Salty Historian, author of Women Make History Better. How you doing?
Doing great. I'm so excited to be here again.
I'm always happy to have you. And with us tonight, Hurricane Momo from the great state of Texas. What is up, girl? I heard you're not feeling good tonight. Are you okay?
Yeah, but hey, I'm gonna be good today. Today, no rants about golden relievers.
Well, it's all we can ask for is today, I think. And we want to give a special shout out to Hurricane Evie, who could not be here with us. She laid her brother to rest today, and we want to send all of our love, all of our strength and support out to our sister Evie. We love you, and we hope we get you back with us soon. And I would now like to bring to your attention our guest today, Jen Lennon. Jen, you are a classically trained, from what everything on the web says, a Celtic singer, right?
Correct. Yeah,
And
right.
so we've got a lot to talk about there because a lot of us are into Celtic music, and then
Awesome.
you're also these days working on film and running your own studio, right?
Absolutely. A lot going on.
That is quite a bit. There, I did take a moment and watch Knives and Skin last night. I watched the whole thing.
Did you?
I did. It was something else, let me
It
tell you,
truly is, isn't it?
especially the scenes that I could tell when you were involved because they were the choral scenes and
Yes.
they were quite ethereal, but we'll get into all that there.
Sure.
So we've got, you've got a long career here. Um,
Mhm.
no, did you start with the Elgin's Children's Choir, or was that I read through your bio, but I didn't get everything there. So
Sure. Well, I did eventually end up there. I started really early in music. I was just one of those geek kids that like came out of the womb singing. So I really started training and learning classically at 3, and I was professional by 8. And then a couple of years later, I joined the Elgin Children's Chorus, and it just so happened that year that we were sharing a bill with the Chicago Children's Choir. We were working on Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Donny Osmond. So that was like my first professional gig, was that show. So a really big flashback to the 90s, but I did start pretty early.
I mean, what attracted you, I guess, to choral music, to more classical things? Like, why that?
Sure.
Why not rock and roll? Why not, Britney Spears or something like that?
Great question. Although I adore rock music, oh my goodness, I have so many rock influences. And I mean, you can't be a girl growing up in the 90s or early 2000s without knowing about Britney Spears. But I think just the step into classical music was just a natural step, given that both my parents are classically trained artists. My cousin is, I think to this day, she's still the pianist for the London Symphony Orchestra, and she trained at DePaul. So both sides of my family were just, music was just always a part of our lives. And also, I was raised Roman Catholic, Jesuit, so everything was done choral, a lot of singing in Latin, a lot of ancient music. And so I thought to my little 10-year-old self, why not make this a professional gig if I can and join other kids who are kind of the weirdos and like this really hard music. And, I remember I'd be up in my bedroom listening to like the alternative rock scene, the grunge, the Seattle grunge phase was all the rage. So listening to Nirvana while doing my homework and then running to, a 3-hour rehearsal and, singing these, Renaissance motets and everything. So it was interesting, but I think because it just felt very natural for me, and it just so happened that at this time, this choir was really taking over the Fox Valley of Illinois and going on international tours and recording and working with some big names. So it just happened to be like the right time to step in.
I mean, I think when you talk about that and you talk about your varied interests and everything you did, I mean, you sound like you grew up in a similar era to me. I grew up in the 90s, and like I came
Awesome.
of age in the 90s actually, and like I'm
Wonderful.
thinking about, you're going to choir rehearsal. I also I also toured with the choir
Oh,
when I
great.
was in university. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a bass, which I don't enjoy right now. But
Oh,
like it was fun to tour and fun to do all that. But I would leave out of there, and I would just be putting on the Snoop Dogg album or something
I
like that, or
love
just something,
yes.
like
Yes,
I'd roll out of there, get in my car afterwards and go to the hotel or where we're going, and it's like Metallica or something like that. But
exactly.
yeah,
That was a good time for Metallica. You can release your inner geek and have your choir geekdom during a couple of hours during the day or during the week, and it just feeds that part of you. But then you can go and listen to the stuff that all your friends are enjoying with you. It was
We don't
quite a
have
time, huh?
we don't have any geeks in this room at all. Not
None
at all.
whatsoever.
Oh,
No.
yes, I do.
I love it.
Yes, I
I
do.
geeks
Morgan,
unite.
you?
I love me a good geek.
Yeah, remember, I am a singer. Matter of fact, when I was see, in my early days, I was a soprano one, but as I got
Oh,
older,
girl.
I went from a soprano one slash mezzo soprano to
Uh-huh.
now currently I'm a contralto. So no, shout out to all the girlies who can sing bass.
Yes. And contralto is so beautiful. Some of the most beautiful Baroque music ever written by Bach or for the contraltos. Oh my goodness. Embrace it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I
I was
I
just
tried.
do.
about to say that as somebody who tried to force herself as a soprano and failed miserably and now embraces the fact that she's a contralto, I'm here for
Go for
this.
it. Go for it. There should be more. And the altos really are the anchors of the choir. The sopranos and the basses, because they're extreme ends of the spectrum, they'll get the attention, right? Everyone wants a
Mhm.
big soprano or a big bass, but it's the altos who always have the most difficult parts. If you don't have a solid alto part, the tenors and the baritones cannot tune themselves up against the bass. So
That is
really,
true.
without a good alto section, your choir is kaput. So cheers to all them alti out there.
Well, that's
Period.
me. That's where I'm at because, like in school, I'd always try for the solos and stuff, but it was the sopranos that would get them,
Always. Yeah.
and and it was really frustrating. And but I enjoyed an alto. I enjoyed being an alto, and you're right. I mean, it's a different vibe, and you kind of carry things through, and I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we never got the solos as an alto. That never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
It
was
was.
actually what caused me to quit in high school was like I was just so sick of singing harmony and it was just nope, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I
See for
love
me.
harmony though.
See, for me, when I was the middle school I went to, I had a very aggressive choir director. And
Okay.
although and me at the time, I was a strong sight reader. I was the hold you down alto. But then
Yeah.
of course my voice started to change when I ended up having like this horrible sore throat at the age of 12/13. And then it kind of
Oh.
altered my voice. But when it was eighth grade time and there was this individual, a child from back in the day, he did something, he got suspended. Well, the bass section was in shambles. So guess who was able to sing PDA last song at the age of 13? Listen, it was magnificent. The UIL judges were like, what the? and we
Love
got
it.
points across the board. So yeah, stop playing with me.
See, when Abby says, when
I
Abby's
love
talking
it.
about the singing, the harmony part, that's actually the part that I loved doing because
Yes.
I will sit and listen to songs that I'm familiar with, and generally it's songs from the 80s because I'm old.
Oh, the
But
80s
like
were the best.
I'll be sitting there and I'll be inventing a harmony track to go with
Love
it,
it.
like it'll be something stupid like Bon Jovi or something like that, and it'll be like I'll be there for you or something like that. I'll come up with a counter melody to go
Love
with it,
it.
and it sounds amazing in my
I
head.
love that.
In my head, at least anyway, it sounds great. I don't know what it sounds like elsewhere.
I love hearing that. That means you're a natural musician. And I really love when people do it, singing along to the radio or they're in the shower and they're making up counterparts and harmonies. I just think that is one of the uttermost joys in life is just letting your inner music geek, your high school choir geek out and just letting it rip. I love that. It's great for the brain too.
Yeah, I
It
still
really
remember
is.
songs from back in the day. Like The Sky Can Still Remember, a couple of Key Dead Lace on songs.
Okay.
But yeah, The Sky Can Still Remember. I literally can, the words I forgot, but the notes, yeah.
Right, right. Do you guys ever have flashbacks or nightmares about being back in choir and you're like doing a sight reading exam in front of the class
Yes.
or something?
I
Yes, I've had
do.
that nightmare. It's not fun.
Those
Yes.
don't leave.
I
No,
loved
Not
it,
fun.
but
listen.
look,
Okay.
at least I didn't have a choir director that would take off a shoe and throw it at you.
I
So
I
Didn't have
did.
that.
My sixth grade choir director would do that. He'd throw chairs across the room.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
nice.
Crazy ass. Like,
Nice.
no, like,
Gen Z would not be able to handle our choir directors from back in the day, especially my
no.
mama.
Thank you for saying that, Momo. No, they would not handle
They
it.
would not be. They'd be like, "Oh my God, it's tiny." It's the
Children leaving in tears, then that was normal.
Right.
right. Like
Yes.
my choir teacher would be like, all of y'all finna sing this. Somebody's off.
It's
Yeah,
hard for me to get back into. It's like I tried a couple of years ago to get back into it because I met somebody who was a director of a Lutheran church choir, and they were like, "Well, why don't you come in and sit in with us?" And you know, like I'm like, I'm not a churchy person, you know. It's
Yeah.
like I'll go in there and sing, and then like given the voice that I have, which is a baritone at best right now, it's got a little bit higher since I've been on
Oh.
estrogen, but like um when I started when the director, the actual director, was calling it out, it was like, okay, ladies, you do this part, guys, and Sheila do this.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, no, this is not gonna work for me.
no.
I'm way too pigeonholed here. It's like I don't want to associate singing with gender dysphoria, but I do love to do
no.
it. I do, and I love a good interpretation
Hmm.
of a song. Like I think everybody likes to listen to covers that take an original song and just absolutely put that one X factor into it that it
Hmm.
was you didn't know was missing, but it
Right.
Hmm.
was. It's like
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
listening a lot to like Chase Holfelder who does the changes. He takes songs in a major key and changes it to a minor key,
Oh,
and they're
Love
wow.
just
it.
it's the same words, but holy shit, the way that song hits. And I was noticing that about your work in the movie I watched last night is Knives and Skin, is that
Yeah.
you took a lot of 80s new wave rock songs and
That's my jam.
made them
Oh, mine too.
into wow, I mean, you just made them into something not entirely different, but it felt different.
It
Like,
really did. And I think that was the beauty of what we were finally put together was the magic about the director Jennifer Reeder, and I think what makes her so unique is, she at this point, Knives and Skin, I think, was our third film together. And
mhm.
so we had kind of gotten the formula correct a couple times in a row, excuse me, before
Bless you.
then. But she loves 80s music. She loves punk. She loves metal, death metal. I mean, she's just such a badass and just a remarkable human being in general, and just a phenomenal artist. And we had agreed that with this film, we were going to take the formula that had been working for the two previous films we had done together. And she wanted to take music that was iconic and well known that, women of our generation would certainly eventually figure out these were the songs that we grew up with, but then it would turn on a whole new generation of listeners and audience members to look up this music and figure out what is it? I love it. And she uses the term quite a bit, a dirge. She wants funeral dirges, funeral marches in these moments because a lot of the singing moments sometimes they feel like they come out of nowhere in her films. Sometimes they're woven in very intricately and just follow the plot line seamlessly. And that's very intentional with her. And she wanted to take these familiar songs and keep them just very dramatic. But she wanted, and you hit the nail right on the head there, Sheila. She wanted people at least like 10 seconds in to listen to the lyrics and say, I do know this song. What
Yes,
is
that
this?
part.
Yes, and that's
Because
what gets everyone. And that is definitely the Jennifer Reeder's stamp when it comes to her films, is she wants to take music, but I think you see a lot of independent horror films now using music and using choral scenes and orchestra scenes. And I think Jennifer was really the first to say, I want choral, I want all female choir, and I want to take these songs that normally in their original context are great, or they've made a really big impression in the industry, or they're big hits, but I wanted to really reflect the seriousness of the moment on film. And yeah, that was definitely intentional. And I can't remember if all the songs that we had gotten ready and that we had worked with the actresses on actually made it past the cutting floor, but I think quite a few of them did. So there's some great 80s tunes in there, but it just takes about 10, 15 seconds to figure out what it is actually.
The one that I liked the best was Melt with You by Modern English.
Oh,
And
wasn't that beautiful?
it was the scene at the sort of lesbian awakening there between the two
Mhm.
characters. And I put a little clip of that on TikTok today just to kind of hype up the show here and get people
Oh.
on board. But like, yeah, it's just that kind of thing. But you did give us a sample of some things, and I'd like to share that with our audience right now.
It'd be great.
And let's see what we can let's check you out here. This is from the Blood Beneath the Skin.
Mhm.
Um, do you want to like the Blood Beneath the Skin film? Do you want to sort of intro this or tell us a little
Sure.
bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the sequel to her first short film, A Million Miles Away. This is the second one. It's about the second part of the story, and this scene, um, to the best of my memory, is a bunch of girls had just been harassed by the cool football guys, and these girls are all in a girl choir, and they're choir geeks, and they're all very diverse, but come together 1 hour a day like a sophomore girls choir, and they get to be themselves. And I think they have a run-in with these really nasty boys who are doing really nasty things that is still happening today in our schools, and teenage girls are still getting bullied. So this song is just a moment, a collective moment of rebellion for the girls in the middle of the school, in the middle of the day, and it's like a collective thought, I think.
All right. Well, this is Sweetness as arranged by our guest, Jen Lennon.
Sweetness, I was only joking when I said I'd like to smash every tooth in your head. Sweetness, I was only joking when I said by rights you should be bludgeoned in your bed. And now I know how Joan of Arc felt. Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. As the flames rose to her Roman nose and her Walkman started to melt.
So that's really haunting, honestly.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. Yeah, and deliberately so. That was all
mhm.
Jennifer. She's like, I want to take this song, this punk song that is naturally haunting in its lyrics, talk about bludgeoning.
Right.
Yeah.
It's this sort of juxtaposition of this wholesome group, what you assume is a wholesome group of girls,
Yes.
and then talking about smashing your teeth in and bludgeoning your head into your pillow,
A
like,
100%. And
yeah,
you'll find if anyone's new to Jennifer Reeder and they decide to look up her films, she's done a lot of great work and some major projects as well, not just indie. And she always says, you know, don't underestimate the power of the teenage girl and beware the power of the teenage girl. And so yeah, there's always this juxtaposition throughout her films. It's a thematic thread that she weaves a lot, where teenage girls may outwardly, as we can all identify with, outwardly have to project this sense of innocence, this sense of control, this sense of obedience and compliance, but inwardly you want to smash the head of the boy who came up to you and just called you a negative slur or something, because that's what asshole teenage boys do. So that's something Jennifer's really great at, and you see a lot of this in her films.
It's something that we wouldn't normally feel comfortable expressing, but through the
Exactly.
media of film and music,
Absolutely.
hey,
Oh my God.
we
So I just wanted to say I watched that earlier today
Oh,
and I was
great.
taking notes and I literally wrote down patriarchy and haunting.
Love
So
it.
I was taken by that. I was sitting here crying, trying to run my reports for
Oh,
my job. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. So just, it was
oh,
amazing.
oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
did you
So
watch
good.
Knives and Skin,
I
or
had
was
to
it?
work, Sheila. I
Yeah,
had
Strap
to, I could
yourself
only do
in.
this short.
yeah, the short ones are
I'm
good too.
definitely
Yeah.
definitely gonna watch it after this, but hearing those girls sing, I was like, yeah, baby, this is definitely giving
Oh yeah.
Lacrimosa, the
Oh, I
epic
love
version.
it. Are you flashing back to choir, when you just, you've got this internal rage and you're just waiting to let it out, and you're in a safe space among the other girls. Yeah, you guys would love the scenes in Knives and Skin. That's blood beneath the skin to three times the level.
Yeah, because fun fact, I was actually being picked on even though I was in the choir. So
I'm sorry.
so me singing my heart out and being the best, I did it on purpose. But then of course when your mother and your aunt are professional singers, you have no choice
Mm.
but to put people in their place vocally and still can do that. Got my
I
key.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Own your talent and your skill. High school kids are not so great with that.
Oh,
No,
honestly,
and
that was middle school. High school,
Oh,
I
middle
didn't like
school's
the
even
choir director.
worse.
Mm-mm. I didn't like the
I mean,
choir director in my high school. I was like, I'm like, it's too weak, it's too soft, I'm good. So I just opted with singing with my family whenever we got a chance, and we would just break out in song.
Oh, I love it. That sounds amazing.
I feel like we all get bullied for various different things and
Mhm.
we get dragged into drama, and all of
Oh,
us here
yes.
have stories about that. I obviously get bullied for daring to exist these days, but
Yeah.
it's like there are some times when you just feel like, you know what? I just would like to fuck somebody up right now. And
Absolutely.
like just getting into that, I see like just the in that clip there, especially in the way that is one thing I noticed about Jennifer Reeder is that she knows how to frame a damn shot, and she
Oh,
definitely knows how to light
yes.
it, and just grab that as just seeing the face, and these are the faces of actual women. Like,
Hmm.
you can see they've got the pimples, they've got um they're not flawless alabaster
Exactly.
They're
models,
real.
they're
They're real.
real
Yeah.
Real
women.
beauty, real sophomore high school girls who are real women. Absolutely.
And I don't know what the casting's like. I'd never heard of any of the actors before, in any of the films except for one, and we'll talk about her later.
Yes.
But yeah, the whole idea of the realness of it, and there is a bit, I think, of like she adds a little bit of a B movie quality to it that I think is
Mhm.
endearing, because
Oh,
like it also makes it sneaky. Like it
yeah.
sneaks up behind you, and it's like you're expecting camp, but then there's this concept that comes around too. And I think one of the scenes last night that I really enjoyed is like somebody, the guy, and I can't remember names, I'm terrible with it, but he got his Letterman jacket back from a girl that he
Yes.
had been treating terrible. And when he put it on, it was like on the back of it, she had sewn the words, I treat girls like shit on the back of it. And
Such a
I,
great one in pink glitter.
Oh,
yes.
that's
And I was
great.
just like, yes,
That's
Oh, yes.
yes.
fun.
Oh,
There,
yes.
there
These
seems to be such a
girls do the
theme
things
there.
we wish we could have done, that we knew that we could have had the courage to do. Because, we wouldn't have been treated well if we had retaliated against boys bullying us back in those days. And so I'm not to say that they would be treated any more fairly now, but Jennifer sure likes to have these characters that I look back at them and I love them and they are so endearing. And I think to myself, goodness, I wish I had the courage to say or do that at that age.
I think we all do. Like there have been times when even like it gets worse even when it's other girls too, I
Yeah.
think, because men you sort of expect it out of,
Yeah,
but other women coming for you, it's is really hard to handle
absolutely.
that. As those are the like we're supposed to be here for each other
Yeah.
and we're supposed to be in a sisterhood, but then we get the we get attacked from our own tribes,
Yeah.
and that makes it all the more hard, I think, is because but I do like the way in the one I watched last night. I don't know about the others, but this one was more directed towards creepy men. But
Oh, yes.
yeah, so
Yeah, that's
I
fun.
had a few. I saw a few of the movies that you've been a part of. Like there was one that's named Answer Now. Was that you as well, or was it
That might have been a reader film, but I don't think I was on that one.
Okay, so you started with A Million Miles Away in
Correct.
2014, right? And
Correct.
then there was Blood Beneath the Skin in
Hmm.
2015, Knives and Skin in 2019, and
Correct.
then Perpetrator in 2023, right?
Correct. Yeah. Great memory.
So, okay, I've actually got it written. I cannot even lie. I've got it right here on the screen right here.
Love it.
Yeah, I'll take the compliment, but everybody's gonna be razzing me after like Sheila, you know what you were doing.
Exactly. We knew you were looking at the words.
But like, yeah, no, I'm 48 years old. I'm never gonna remember every title, but like,
Can
um,
wait.
but I mean, that's a fairly decent body of work there. How
Yeah.
did you get together with Jennifer? And what was that? What was that process like? What was,
Yeah.
how did you team up?
It was definitely kind of random, but serendipitous too. I had just started. I knew that I wanted to transition from strictly Celtic music to classical. I was already a conductor at the time, and I was working on grad school, and I wanted to transition into film. So I started doing some works for the stage for local theater companies here in Chicago. I did a couple of projects, for other productions in New York where it falls under the title of the production, and then, you don't get credit for it. It's kind of one of those weird things where they don't note you as the credit, but you're still paid and part of the body of work. And so I was just really trying to put my foot in the door. And at UIC, the University of Illinois at Chicago, I'm an alumni from their School of Theater and in music. It's the most random little small that at the time it was a department. Now it's a full school where some of my professors, some of my coaches, and some of my colleagues, it's just exploded. There are so many people that I was in class with, that I trained with, that are all on television, in film, you name it. And so it was getting a lot of buzz, and luckily Jennifer Reeder, when she's not doing all of her film projects, she is a professor in the College of Arts and Architecture, Arts and Design. I can't remember exactly what she teaches. I know she was an interim dean for the Arts College at one point, but I think she kind of has her hand in a lot of pots in that college. But at the time, the Department of Music and Theater was a part of that school, and so Jennifer got the funding for this short film, and she was really excited and jazzed about it. And she got together this really great film crew and lighting and all the stops, but she had all of her actresses lined up, but she didn't have someone to teach the lead actress, who is Jennifer Eslin, a local Chicago actress. She's done some great film work. If you ever want to check her out, she's just an incredible actress. They didn't have anyone to teach the lead actress to be a conductor, to conduct a choir and look like it was natural. And then another big issue that Jennifer had was she wanted to take a Judas Priest song, "You've Got Another Thing Coming," and she wanted a sophomore girls choir to sing it. And she didn't know who on earth would ever take on the responsibility of rearranging a metal song or punk metal song into something that was a cappella for girls. And so she called up the then dean of the School of Music, and it happened to be my mentor who trained me. And she said, I need a female conductor that can work with these actresses, and can she arrange and compose for a metal song? He's like, oh, do I have the person for you? And she just called me up and we met, and she said, I want to take this Judas Priest song and I want to turn it into like a funeral dirge and, four voice women. Can you do that? And I was like, oh yeah. And she looked at me like I had a third eye. And I said, yeah, I can do it. And what I explained to her and what I really love telling other people is that you guys being choir geeks, this probably resonates with you. You probably already knew this secret, but the general listening audience, the general public, is so distracted by the thrashing metal and the clanging of the drums of metal music. They don't understand that a lot of really great metal musicians are classically trained, can read music. I mean, Metallica, for one, were big in the 90s and 2000s, but really smart people, if you break it down to its simplest parts, if you take out all of the distraction of these big noises and screaming and all this other stuff, you break it down to its chord structure, it is hauntingly beautiful. And the lyrics are so beautiful, so much more depth than we hear in pop music these days. And so for me, I thought this would be super simple, and it turned out to be just really, really easy. A lot of the parts just aligned correctly. The stars aligned for that project. They hired a lot of the actresses locally from Chicago. All of them had a singing background. All of them had at least taken 1 year of choir, so that was wonderful. And then working with the conductor, the actress Jennifer Eslin, she was wonderful and very serious. And we just worked for hours on how to stand like a conductor, how to give the correct cues. And it really worked out. And that was my first foray into film. And then that film got so much attention, that little tiny film, really resonated with people. It won so many awards, and then everybody was knocking on Jennifer's door. And so she really opened up that door for me and plucked me from obscurity. And so I was no longer, composing solely for the stage. I still do, but because of her, I continue to work in film to this day.
I
So.
love the fact that it's Jennifer Reeder, Jennifer Lennon, and Jennifer Eslin
Right?
working together. It's the triumvirate of Jennifers there,
So weird. You could tell we were all born in like the same decades, right? Anyone from the 70s
right?
and 80s was Jennifer or Jessica.
Listen, I'm not going to say much because I'm a Sheila Nicole, but
My sister's
um,
name is Jennifer, so
There you go. There you go.
My best friend's
she
name
was
is
born in the
Jennifer.
Middle 80s. So yeah, yeah.
Exactly. There you go. Someone thought it was beautiful and unique, and then everybody just okay.
I think just listening to that, and then I'm also a film geek too. I had a brief career in Asia. While I was there, I was recruited and cast in several movies there, and then
Oh my goodness.
was actually doing the damn thing. But I mean, you come in more on the post side of things,
Yeah.
whereas I'm like there
Yeah.
on the set getting hurt every day doing stunts
Oh my
and
goodness.
doing stuff like that. Like literally, people don't understand what it takes to make a movie.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
like
It's
you,
enormous undertaking, and it's painstaking.
yes,
It takes so many people to put it together, so many man hours. It's grueling.
yeah, and we're talking about at least 18-hour days.
Oh, absolutely.
And things you're sitting half the time you're sitting on your ass, but the other half of the time you're up and you're doing takes and things
Hmm.
like that. And most movies shoot during the middle of the night. So,
Yes,
because that's when the places that you want to shoot at, that's when they're available. And
absolutely.
just like with that, you take about a 2 minute section of a movie. It's like and you have to understand that's a whole day. That's a whole day of shooting.
Absolutely.
And my least favorite parts were the parts where I had to be eating.
Oh
Because like
goodness.
by the time, at first I'm like, I'm a little hungry, I could eat. And then by the time the 34th take has happened and somebody's fucked up the lighting or the sound or
Oh,
something like that, and I'm like, they've brought me like three or four different plates because the other ones have like gone off,
oh my
and I'm
goodness.
and I remember one scene where I was drinking like beer, just like,
Uh-huh.
and by the end of the shoot, I was pretty schnockered. I was like, I was like, because I've had to be taking sips. I
Oh
hadn't learned at
no.
that point to do Hollywood sips, like,
You're right.
you
Or at least they
know,
could have given you like some apple juice or something, put a
right,
little foam
something. But
on
no,
it.
they're just like, okay, that beer's done. Here's another one, and I'm like, no, y'all don't understand this alcoholic right here. But yeah, I mean, there's so much work that goes
So
in
much.
within just the shooting to start with. Like, we did scenes that lasted. I thought there were going to be just like major chunks of the movie, but they're just a
Yeah.
couple of minutes, and like there's so many good works, so much work that goes into that, and so much crew that
Oh,
has to be
so
around
much
for it.
crew.
And then if we all do our jobs right, you don't notice that it took all that work.
Correct.
And I can only imagine on the post side of things when or even you're in, I guess, with your arranging the choral, you're in pre-production a lot too.
Yeah, there's pre-production, but they don't the interesting thing that I find so funny about our process is really unique just because of crew and funding and that delicate dance of, making movie magic. Our our pre-stuff, we literally they gave us one day. They give us
Ooh.
12 hours for me to, I'm speaking about Knives and Skin, especially just because that was such an enormous project and it really just put Jennifer on the map. And they sent me they sent me the music 6 months ahead of the filming so that I could arrange and pre-arrange and see what worked. And so I would sing all the choral parts and everything and just work in my home studio and then send it to them for approval and if they wanted something else or they switched songs, or let's say we were ready to roll with the song, but we couldn't get the rights for whatever reason, then we had to can that and then we had to choose something in its place. Or during those 6 months too, the script would go through many different edits. So sometimes scenes were switched, or sometimes they were just cut altogether. So the 6 months leading up to it were pretty involved, but it was really the day that we actually recorded the music. And so what Jennifer did, which makes the live music look so seamless, is Jennifer had me work with and record the choir live in a live setting. And so we got literally 12 hours for me to rehearse these girls that through their audition process, they sent me 30-second clips of these girls singing. And I had to work with 20 actresses and determine based on those 30 seconds, oh, is this an alto? Is this a soprano one, a soprano two, an alto one, an alto two? I was like, oh my God. But luckily it worked out. These actresses are so freaking talented that it was not a problem. And we would have 2, 3 hours to run through all these songs, and they were pretty intense arrangements in this film in particular. It wasn't just two voice, it was 3 and 4 voice, which is, speaking to my fellow choir geeks out there, that can be a lot. And what was wonderful too is we had to also make some of these women, I mean, some of them are 18, a little older, sound like a really, really good sophomore girls choir. We didn't want them to sound professional. We wanted them to sound like they were still, working and fine tuning their craft and in training. So we worked on that, and then we had to record them all within that space. And I think we got maybe a half an hour break for lunch, and of course washroom breaks. And we had to nail it in 1 or 2 takes. Very rarely did we do 3 takes. And as soon as those were good, and I sent them to the sound crew and walked through it, and there were no like terrible things on the track, like air conditioning vents going off, or outside noise like streetcars or anything. Once we had a clear tracks, we used that And then when we would do the live segments and the live filming, and that, of course, on Monday, they're working through this portion of the film. And as Sheila prefaced before, you could get a call at 3 in the morning. Hey, we're going to do the high school choir scene, and you need to be at this random high school somewhere in Chicago at like 3 in the morning, and that's your call time. And you're going to do it at 6 because the lighting is, what we need it to be, and so on and so forth. And so we would record live, but the girls would sing to the live track being played, and I would be on some sort of like a box or a lift behind the actress playing the conductor, so that I could give the choir the cues, and the conductor could just do her thing and not be nervous about the girls coming in on time, because she just has to worry about her, because she's having like this, not to spoil the film, but the choir director in some parts is having like a nervous breakdown as she's conducting the girls. So we wanted her to just focus on her moment and just get the patterns right. And so I would cue from the back, but that would happen several times throughout the film. So it was a lot of hours. And then in post, any kind of tuning up we had to do. Sometimes I had to sneak in little piano tracks here or there for the score, or sometimes I didn't. I think we had his name is escaping me. I'm so embarrassed. But the pianist for the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, the keyboardist, did a lot of the score for Knives and Skins. So it
It
sounds
was Nick something, Nick
Yes,
Zimmer.
Nick. It was Nick.
Yeah.
It was badass. But I would send a lot of I would play piano and keyboard to keep place in the films and in the edits, and then we would send it over to him, and then he would work his magic, out for timing. So they'd take my track out, put his in. So there was a lot of pre, during, and post work on this film, and that I just really felt like there was every reason in the world why none of it should have worked out. So many random pieces worked out beautifully.
Well, since we're talking about Knives and Skin, and not all of us have seen it, and certainly not, probably not everybody in our viewing audience has seen it, let's check the trailer out for that and see what that looks like. I did watch it last night, but let's see
Thanks for
what y'all
watching.
think.
A woman called for you last night. She was looking for her daughter, a friend of yours, Corey, Callie.
Carolyn. We aren't really friends anymore.
I put more of these up every day.
Well, honey, can you help me with this? I'm making a flyer for that missing girl. I saw the ones her mother's been putting up, and they're hideous.
You spelled her name wrong.
Oh. Well, I'm not gonna start over now. I worked really hard on this.
I thought your dad lost his job.
What do you do all day anyway?
Oh, honey, aren't you gonna eat?
Of course not.
If you need some extra money, you could probably sell my meds to your friends at school.
As most of you know, Carolyn Harper's been missing since Friday night.
If you know anything, let us know immediately.
For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far that you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad.
Can you feel that?
I need to know there's a way out of this place.
311. How may I help you?
What do you think is going on here?
It will almost kill you, but you will not die from this.
You were warned!
I will rise. If only.
Tell me where she is!
To hold you down.
So that is Knives and Skins trailer, IFC midnight film there, and that did come out in 2019. I believe you can see that now on AMC Plus, and there are other and all the usual like Fandango and Apple TV and things of that nature. You can go find the movie there take a look at it. It's worth a look. It's got a it's different. If you're expecting something procedural, you're going to be in for a disappointment. There's a lot of meat to it. I think it's about 2 hours long.
Mhm.
And I watched it last night. And there were parts where I kind of got in the weeds with it, but like, because I was like, well, where's this going?
Oh yeah.
But there are a lot of B stories going on along the way
A
too. But it
lot.
all sort of that's kind of the point, I think, is because it's about, a girl who disappears and how the rest of the town sort of reacts to it. And it's not Mayberry that you're in there. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's what I find so thrilling about this film. And every time I've seen it, there are moments where, that are cringy and deliberately so, and that are, just so in your face and so evocative and unexpected that I find myself like kind of like shrinking in my seat a little bit. But what I really truly love about this film in particular is that unfortunately, a lot of us living in America, all over the world, a lot of us may appear on the outside to have these cookie cutter lives. Not everyone has families that are accepting of them. Not everyone has parents that are all together mentally, emotionally. And it just so happens that when this girl disappears, all of her friends that she knows well, and they're in the sophomore girls choir with her. Her mother is the choir director, so that's the connection there. All of these girls have to hold it together because all of the adults in their lives are failing them. And it's just the worst set of circumstances because, whatever these girls needed to do to get through day by day before college, whether it was disassociating or being over involved in sports or music, whatever they had to do to distract themselves from the horror of their home lives, everything just seems to come to the surface in this film once their friend disappears because the adults just cannot get it together. And it's terribly unfair that these young girls are the ones that do. And you just see so many of these cringy themes that I think a lot of us dealt with in high school about inappropriate behavior of authority figures and not healthy boundaries. But Jennifer addresses these from a position of strength. These girls are empowered and they're a lot more mature than the adults in their lives in some circumstances. And they certainly know how to stick up for themselves, but they also know how to come back to each other in the midst of all this chaos and all these B themes happening. Some shenanigans are going on with every character's storyline. And, you're like, what the hell town is this?
Well, I was also thinking, obviously the town is deliberately ambiguous, but also
Yes.
the time period is a little bit ambiguous too, because
Yes.
it's like I know at one point in the closet I saw like a boom box or something like that, cassette player.
Exactly.
And then I do think the music sort of plants it either in the late 80s or early 90s because all the tunes are like 80s new wave, like Cyndi
Exactly.
Lauper, modern English.
Absolutely.
And just, there was there again, what you said before, there's songs that you hear them and you're like, that sounds familiar. And then
Yes.
by the time they get to the chorus, you're like, you know what? Yeah, there it is. So
Absolutely. And how they appear throughout the movie, some of them are expected, some of them are not. But they are all empowering moments for the girls or for the lead actress. It's really cool.
right. And I think you kind of have to take it in with a grain of salt that this is not your ordinary movie. It's very
Not in
conceptual,
the
very
slightest.
cerebral.
Definitely a
Yeah.
cult flick.
It's
Well,
like
and
if
it's
you're
even in like the subtlety of the scenes, like to go back to like your comment of, all the adults are letting them down. Even the subtlety of watching that preview and she's making a cake and she doesn't take the time to get the name spelled correctly. And she's like, oh,
Mhm.
whatever. And that resonated with me because my daughter's name is Carolyn. And
Oh my
she
goodness.
And so she's had people screw up her name all her life and call her Caroline, Caroline. So I was like, I saw that, I was like, oh wow, and yeah, people just kind
Wow.
of resign. They have that mentality. Oh, I'm not, it's one of those microaggressions when they don't take the
Yes,
time to validate your identity by getting your name right.
absolutely. It's
That's
not
Right.
my
exactly
daughter, so I don't care. I don't
right,
even
Well,
care about my
exactly.
daughter, so
Exactly. So yeah, when
I've
we talk
already
about
I've
the
already
adults
done
letting you
it,
down, yeah.
so
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, it's not Sheila, it's just Shelly, not Sheila, or something like that. Like I had somebody when I first got my name legally changed, they were like, I was like, yes, I am legally Sheila. And the first thing somebody asked me is like, oh, can we call you Shelly? And I'm like, the fuck you can't. No. Like, no. I worked really goddamn hard for this name, and
Yeah,
you're just gonna be like, no, can I
That's not
call
my
you? Like,
name.
it's not
that's a
even,
hard no.
it's the same amount of syllables,
Right.
the same amount of letters, the same amount of vowels.
My
Like,
apologies to any
honestly,
Michelles or Shellys out there, but oh no, that's just not a good name.
no. I mean, you know,
Oh.
wait, Sim, is that your real name? No, I'm kidding.
Our
We'll
poor
keep it a
Shellys, we
secret.
love them.
Yeah. But yeah, we are at the halfway point of the show here, so I've really enjoyed the conversation
Likewise.
here, and just to let you guys know who are out there watching, in case you might have joined us halfway through, we are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage, the Goddess's Curse on Mediocre Men and Nature's Happy Little Accidents. We are on GCPR.live right now, as well as this channel, YouTube at Hurricane Girls, where we're best seen because this is where we're the most beautiful. There, if you're on Spotify and Apple, you're really missing out. But thank you for subscribing. If you're here with us right now, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. Tell your friends, share this show with everybody you can humanly possibly think of, because we need viewers. And if you also want to include money in that, go to patreon.com/hurricane girls and subscribe to us for $5 a month. You can get all of our bonus fuckery, and not all of it. Some of it we record and we're just like, nope, nobody's seeing that but us. But we are here. We part of the charm, I think, of this show is that we are all like best friends. Like, we treat each other like best friends. We talk outside of this show. We do this show because we're besties, and so if you want to be part of that group, you can take a peek into it for $5 a month at Patreon. We are certified provisionally right now by the Creator Accountability Network. So be aware that if you see anything that we do that is harmful to our community, we just want to make sure that you know that you can go to creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org and report that, and they will try to get us back in line and help us make it right. Couple of other things. So yeah, I do want to tease our upcoming guests again, and I have to look at it because unlike the movie titles earlier, I had to look at what's written down. Tell me I didn't erase it. I did. Yeah. But I remember these ones here. Next week, we will be talking to Lucy Kaplansky, who's a folk singer who will be performing live here in my city here soon. So I'm looking forward to talking to her. After that, we will be talking to Haley Mae Campbell. If you have not seen her on TikTok with her hit song "Never Been in Love," we'll get to be introduced to her. I best describe her as sort of in the vein of Taylor Swift, but she's remembered she's country. So I love and enjoy her. Seen her live before. She's amazing. Miss Emily will be with us the week after that. Miss Emily is a fantastic soul singer. Morgan and Momo and I were talking about her quite a bit when she agreed to do the show, because that woman has definitely grown up in somebody's black church for being from Canada. Yeah. And at the last week of March, we will be meeting Amy Mosier Henry, who is my co-host on Good Girls Gone Godless, which is a new upcoming podcast in the Hurricane Girls family. Will be right here on this YouTube channel, which talks about our experience growing up in a cult and deprogramming and what it's like to be women in a religious nightmare. So we're going to talk about that. That's going to be a new show. She's great. You all love her, and we're going to bring her on the show just so everybody gets a chance to meet her and gets to know what we will be working on. So looking forward to all this growth and doing, what we can do, making Hurricane Girls a brand you can't miss. And if you're here with us right now, thank you so much. And share it with others because we need to keep this going. We've had so many great guests. We have great guests with us tonight. We have Jen Lennon here with us here, and I've been mispronouncing your name this whole time as Jenna, but
that's all right.
But yeah, Jen is here with us today. But it is right now, it is our turn for the Black History Month moment. This week we have been honoring that. And we have our resident professional here within Black history, a history nerd, some would say. We have 2 history nerds on this show, and we love that. But Morgan, what you got for us tonight, baby girl?
Okay, so we're actually going to talk about the National Pan-Hellenic Council, aka the Divine Nine. But before I get into that, I'm going to give a shout out to my niece, Zaya Wade, the daughter of the basketball player, Dwayne Wade. She is actually the first Black trans girl to be on the 17 magazine. I literally just seen that shit today. When I tell you, so proud.
Awesome.
Say what y'all want, bitch. This is Black History Month, and we talking about everybody that's Black. Period. So, but let me go ahead and clean up my language and be a finer friend. So,
it's okay. It's after 9 o'clock.
So the National Pan-Hellenic Council occurs of 9 Black Greek letter organizations. The history on why they were all formed was because in the olden days, there were white fraternities and sororities, and they would not allow Black people to come in. So in true fashion, our people said bet and created our own Black Greek letter organization. This is the following. We have Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded in 1906. One of their prominent members is the Martin Luther King Jr. Then we have the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, 1908. One of their members, his wife Coretta Scott King, and also Rosa Parks. Take them notes down. And then we have Kappa Alpha Psi. There's a whole bunch of Kappas, and right now I can't think of any notable members. But they were founded in 1911. And then we have Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, aka the Q Dogs, who stay going viral on TikTok, also founded in 1911. And then we have Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1913. 2 months after when they were founded, they went and marched with Susan B. Anthony and them. And so they faced a lot of racial profiling and degradation from both white women and white men. We'll talk about that more on Women's History Month. And then we have my Sigma Brothers, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, founded in 1914. And then we got the Friends, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1920. A big shout out, the Zetas were the first and only sorority to have an adult auxiliary group for both adults and also youth. A proud member that I am, Zeta Amici, founded in 1948, period. Okay, let me get back focused. And then we have the Pretty Poodles, the Shake That Monkey Girls, the absolutely adorable Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1922. And last but not least, we have the babies, and also one of my favorites next to the Sigmas, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, founded in 1963. They're the youngest of the Divine Nine bunch. Everybody else is over 100 years old. So 5 out of the Divine Nine was actually founded in Howard University, which is the AKAs, the Deltas, the Sigmas, the Qs, and the Zetas. The rest of the four were founded in predominantly white institutions, which is completely fine. They all have made contributions to uplift not only the Black community, but also the civil rights movement, and even currently with this nonsense and rubbish. Fun fact, Jasmine, our favorite Texas representative, she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta. And of course, we all know our vice president is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So that should be common knowledge. But here's a fun fact. There's so much towards the Divine Nine, but I'll give a specialty. In the olden days, after when, of course, slavery ended and when everyone went to Howard, while these organizations were still bubbling, a lot of the founders, they went down south, and or some of their new members, they went back down south to teach Black men, women, and children how to read and write, as well as poor white men and women how to read and write. They organized them, they taught them basic laws within their state, as well as how to cultivate the land, et cetera, et cetera. Well, some of those noted members, even for those who before the IOLAs were founded, some of their family members also contributed. Even some of those individuals to this day are noted missing from when they all went down south or other plantations to teach the people how to read and write. Now, my people are from Louisiana, so I heard some stories, and we all know what had happened. There was a lot of undocumented, trigger warning, there were a lot of undocumented lynchings. So a lot of things, regardless of how people want to feel about Black Greek letter organizations, these people have put in so much work to not only better themselves, their families, their communities, but also this nation as a whole. I also want to reiterate, all of these organizations that I mentioned have patents and trademarks. Think of the Divine Nine as their own tribe. So whenever you see any individuals who are Black and they have their letters, you can just say hello. But yes, if you want any more information, you can always go on Wikipedia or go onto their respective websites to do more research for kicks and giggles. So, but again, shout out to the Blue and White fam. Oh, fun fact. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated are the first and only to be constitutionally bound. And the words of one of my favorite Sigmas, if it ain't Phi Beta, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm silly.
I love it. I love it.
Yay.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with us here. We're proud here at the Hurricane Girls to celebrate Black History Month, no matter what these fuckers in Washington tell us we're gonna do, or how much they take it off the calendars, or how much they decide that DEI isn't important. Yeah, because we're all DEI.
It's so crazy.
Here.
Like I said, if it was not for a lot of these Black group leather organizations, we would not have had the Civil Rights Act. We would not have affirmative action. There would not be a Dreamers program. There wouldn't be a free lunch program. Fun fact, the founder of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton, he's a Sigma. Where you think the feds got the free lunch program from? The Black Panther Party. So again, when people say ignorant things, you got to go back and read your history and fact check everything that Black people have done, from traffic lights and apparently ranch dressing. Girl, ranch dressing, we invented ranch dressing.
I've been using that as an insult for white people this whole time.
You did.
I swear. Okay, I have to rethink everything now.
We invented ranch dressing. Our body parts cure cancer. It's something about HIV. And at this point, it's like, which one? So when y'all actually do the segment, I'm like, which one? Because I keep learning new things every day.
I'm sitting here knowing that if a couple of Black trans women had not picked up bricks at Stonewall, my white ass would not be sitting here.
Listen, picked up a brick and threw it. I like to think they set one of them on fire for kicks and giggles.
I mean, I'm with it. I'm here for it. But we are all, I mean, we all have this country because of black and brown people here today. We can pretend that we built all this, but it was not built. It was built. We are in a land built off a genocide and the enslavement of black people, and that is our curse, I think, to bear. I love hearing about the Divine Nine. I love hearing about what they've done. I just like, no. I mean, every time I hear about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm thinking, oh, you mean what made this country? What made this country while y'all sat on your big white asses and sat back and watched everybody else do the goddamn work.
Hold on. I think I see one of them in the chat. I'm trying to figure out
Yeah.
who it is.
Big Holmesy in the chat here
I'm
says,
trying to
hey,
figure out
from
who
your
it
brother.
is.
I'll let
I'm
you
trying
know.
to eventually. Okay, I'm gonna say if you are a part of the Divine Nine in the chat, please put up your colors so we can see who you are.
Yes.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
feel free to sound off.
I think you've sounded off more than any of us ever could.
No, listen, Sheila, when we had Conclave in 2023, they're gonna be in Tampa. The Sigmas are gonna be in Tampa this year. But when we had Conclave 2023, when I tell you it was like a movie. First of all, I was smaller than what I was, and now I'm about to get back to that body. Listen, I can't say their sound off because it's disrespectful, but one of them, there's a distinctive sound off that the Sigmas have. So imagine one person saying one thing and then 5,000 Sigmas responding. We was at the Marriott. This was the white people. When they heard, ooh, and they were like, it was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was like an earthquake. I was cracking up laughing. You know, for the white people, they were like, and then they did it again.
See, I love this. I know you weren't feeling great when you came in today. And I love the fact that your energy has picked up to the point where you can share that joy with us. And like, honestly, that's why I love you. You know that.
Jen over here talked about the choir, and I'm like,
Sarah in the chat was saying that they were actually going on a rant to their aunt about the actual beginning of free breakfast and lunches, and you did bring that up. Is free breakfast and lunches came from y'all?
yeah, yeah. Traffic lights, the washing machine, hair dryer, a comb,
peanut butter.
Thank you.
And an American institution.
Matter of fact, George Washington Carver, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Yup.
What a falsetto. What the funny thing is, they thought it was gay, but I can definitely confirm it was not gay because, again, story times. I'm bust out.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
You know what? I'm not mad at it. Zora Hilson, Arthur. Matter of fact, no. What I cannot think of friend's name, but to the Zeta who made Juneteenth a national holiday. She's a Zeta. I cannot think of her name. Friends, if y'all are in the chat, please don't fuss at me. I'm not good with names, but I know her face. So again, there's a lot of contributions. It's more than just dancing around in circles, which we get from Ghana. It's more than just that. It's more than the signs, the handshake. It's more than just that. It's really about building a bond. It's about, community. Like we uplift each other up. There were times when I was in a rut, here they come. No, come on, friend, come outside. No, friend, you ain't about to see Kim be depressed. Or, what's going on. I mean, community service is the thing. At the end of the day, every single organization is about service. Is every organization perfect as a whole? No. But at the end of the day, we all have a common goal, and that is scholarship, service, sisterhood, brotherly love, friendship, and the list goes on. But also the fun shenanigans are hilarious.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, the way we would think about heritage and stuff like that, and Jen, you can probably speak to this a little bit, is like, the music that we do. Like when I was in choir, what we did was sing the whitest version of the spirituals that we could possibly sing. It's like Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Yeah, no, Jericho, my lord. And we had to
So
enunciate
cringe.
it and everything.
That's
It was
enunciate.
awful.
So cringe. And we know better now. And I think a lot of
Right.
music educators know better now.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yes,
we looking
but
at y'all
all the
like
cringe
this.
moments.
My choir director is like, no, you have to enunciate.
Oh God.
You have to, and it turned out to be just this was in the mid 90s, so
Of course.
we were all pretty racist back then, to be honest. But like, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking we're singing, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and we're singing, Joshua Fit the Battle, and like and we had I know we had a couple of sisters in our choir, and I would just look over at them sometimes and they'd be like, "This ain't how you sing it. Like this is not how you sing it. Like
That's
there's
when
no
the shoe,
soul
and that's
to
when the
it."
shoe throwing would start.
Yes, yes, and it should have. It really should have. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Oh,
But
so
I mean,
embarrassing.
so much of our, like, even like choral music. I know you're more on the Gaelic or Celtic side of things, but so much of our American choral music, or what's considered as gospel music, is almost exclusively a product of the Black community, I think. And
Absolutely. And jazz. I mean, jazz is the
oh my God,
only
yes.
true American art form. It is 100% from our Black community. And it started with them in the South. And then, from that came rhythm and blues. And a lot of that came from, a lot of the call and response that was sung, unfortunately in the slave fields. And where some of the great gospel traditions came from. I know, Mo, you're like, I know all this shit already. But yeah, jazz, I mean, my God, even Europeans are obsessed with jazz, especially the French. And it's all that credit goes all the way to our African American community in the United States, the true art form.
I think, well, I mean, if you really boil it down, rock and roll came from that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Elvis decided to take it and make it
Oh my
and
God.
pretend like he did it, but
Look at Abby's face. Did you all see the Elvis movie? I highly recommend it if you haven't, because it was the first time ever they did justice to the true origin of rock and roll in the music industry, and all of the Black artists that we know and love from old school rhythm and blues and old school rock. I mean, they did so much justice to them. It was insane. And they were transparent. Like this kid, I mean, he didn't even know rock and roll. He started in the church, and he started with gospel music, and it wasn't just the white music. It was the Black music, and how much they inspired him. And they finally did justice, I think, in a film to our African American community. So if no one's seen it, I highly recommend it. It's awesome.
I have to ask though, I haven't seen the movie, but do they only focus on the men who contributed? Because there was like Sister Rosetta Tharpe, women who definitely contributed. Like I've seen movies where women should have been included, but were completely erased.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. To the best of my memory, I believe she was included in the film. But beyond that, I can't remember quite as well. But I do think she, or at least some of the other notable artists, were included in the beginning. And it's all in the very beginning of the film, but it's really great. It's like a crash course in rock and roll history. And I'm just so glad that they really did a good job. Could have been better, probably,
right.
but it was a big stride.
I'm a Memphis girl, so you can't see it behind me, but I have the two newspapers from Elvis's day of death on my wall back there. So like I've been to Graceland twice,
Oh my
mostly against
goodness.
my will, but at the same time, like looking, I mean, I like listening to Elvis. Elvis was a good interpreter of other people's music,
And he
you
had a
know,
gorgeous
but
voice.
yeah,
Yeah.
and gorgeous voice and gorgeous hips and everything else, and just like, you know, he was a product of his time, but at the same time, you look at it and you just like look at the artists that I don't want to say borrow from, that he's just outright stole from.
Oh, yes.
And that, you always grow up like, yeah, the original hound dogs, like Momo was saying in our chat over there, like you don't get to, I mean, you always hear like Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, but you don't hear like the true godfathers of that music, who were
Exactly.
all, they were all in the black clubs in Memphis. Um, mhm. And God, that's reminded me of Pat fucking Boone right there. Like
Little
listening to
Richard.
Pat Boone. Yeah,
Little
Little
Richard.
Richard was the
Oh,
shit. Not only black but queer. I'm
Yes.
sorry. You
yeah,
know,
he was bisexual. It wasn't no
yeah,
secret. He was bisexual
honey,
and he
no.
even loved to cross dress.
Yeah, no. There was no hiding that. Whatever you want to say, but like just listening to, from being from Memphis, enjoying like growing up with BB King, the
Oh,
King of the Blues, listening to Lucille being played live,
oh man.
and just
You know about
stuff like,
Lucille Bogan?
no, Lucille Bogan is a whole another fucking thing.
Listen, listen,
Listen,
I
she
wasn't
was
ready.
fucking filthy.
I wasn't ready. Like,
If y'all don't know who
but
we're talking about, immediately after this show is over, go Google Lucille Bogan. Uh,
yeah,
and she's a
Lucille the
singer.
Stallion.
She's the 1930s. God, the filthiest music you've ever heard in your life. And we're talking like, you know, she made Two Live Crew, and everybody else who talks. She was sexually dirty, and he loved her for it. But like all of this stuff, you know, was being done by other cultures, and specifically African American cultures, way before we picked it up, like way before there were white people buying it. And I think that's, when you're talking about music, it's such a core part of who we are. It's such a core part of the human experience, and to we owe all of that to our brothers and sisters in the black community. Like honestly, yet, yeah. Oh, the cows come home. Shave them dry by Lucille Bogan. Holy shit, y'all!
Listen,
When a song starts out, and I'm just going to tease this because we're able to, we're after 9 o'clock. We can say swears. I got nip. The song starts out. I got nipples on my titties the size of my thumbs.
baby, she got something. Baby, dead man come. Oh, daddy.
And for context, what decade was this that she
The
was around?
1930s.
Exactly.
Right. So 1930s. Everybody talks about, well, music was pure back in those days. Nobody said anything. And I'm like, not Lucille. The Lucille I was talking about was BB King's guitar, but yeah, Lucille Bogan too.
Lucille.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a BB
Well,
King
thanks for
named
giving me
his.
another name for my content. I appreciate that.
Oh, girl, you've got to do a piece on her.
You know I'm going to.
Yes.
Listen. And it wasn't just her. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Fun fact, Ma Rainey is a lesbian. Yeah, baby. Ma Rainey had more girls than these rappers. You hear me?
So for those of y'all who are looking to catch up on the Lucille Bogan story, tune into the salty historian here, Mary Bang. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
I don't get excited all the time. Like sometimes it's hard to get excited. This one I'm excited to research, so I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love her.
Bessie Smith, because that was Ma Rainey took Bessie under her wing. Another bisexual black woman. And even she felt like Lucille's music was too much for her. She was like, "Oh, wait."
You're this is gonna have to be for your YouTube, not for your TikTok, because girl, you will get yeeted so fast.
Link in the
I'm
bio.
so good. I'm so good at euphemisms, though, after all this time talking about women being
But
erased from
the
history. So
funny
I
thing
don't
about
care.
that, the funny thing about that is if you talk about her, you will get yeeted. But there's sounds on TikTok of her
Uh-huh.
that you can
My content
use as
doesn't
your
get out there
background.
anymore. Nobody will see it anyway. My viewership is down 99%, so it doesn't
Mm,
matter.
Mary's like, I got nothing to lose at this point.
thank you,
We're going to take
TikTok.
it away anyway. Yeah, a woman talking about women in history, probably going to be a problem.
Are you on TikTok, Jen? I didn't find you there.
No, I think that's one of the few places I am not on. Yeah, I think I don't know why. I wish I had a reason to that I'm not on there, but I think I just simply never got around to it.
Okay. Yeah, I looked for you there, and I was like, because I was going to stitch couple of videos here, but I found a couple like clips from Knives and Skin and like some things that were like tangential to that, but I couldn't find you there.
Ah,
But yeah, you have I mean, you've been performing for a while,
oh
so
yeah.
you've been doing things. Have you like won awards for this? Like, what kind of honors have you had for it?
Yeah, so for A Million Miles Away, this one is always the one I look back on with the most excitement. You know, up to then I had won like, classical awards and educational awards, and while those are great, what I loved about with A Million Miles Away is that it won several awards, but the press for the music was unreal. It won Best Music Moment in Film for 2014, and I think that was published through Film Misery. But what I found so exciting about that is it was just one song, it was just we were experimenting with something. We didn't know if it would work or resonate with audiences. And I woke up one day, it was like 4 in the morning, and I'm getting a call from my sister-in-law in Spain. And my husband's from Spain. He's from the Northwest, so he's got the Antonio Banderas, accent,
Ooh.
and he sounds like Puss in Boots. She calls me from, this very ancient town. And she was like, Jen, did you do a song for a film? And I said, yeah, but that was like a year ago. And she said, no, you don't understand. There's a film competition here in Santiago, and your film just won, and it won Best Music. I'm like, you're joking. And she's like, no, it's all over the paper. And she sent me the news from this town and then the Spanish news. And I was like, what? And so that will always, stand out for me as this award that not really a physical award, but it got so much attention, and it was literally just my first moment of dipping my toe in the pool with film composition and composing, and it was really cool that it made such a smash that even in random Northwest Spain they saw it.
Yeah, when your film wins and when your work wins an award, no matter what you're doing, whether you're working on the phones, in customer service, and you get an
Exactly.
award for, or if you're in Hollywood or you're at a film festival. I one of the short films that I did won quite a few awards in Beijing, and that was just
Ooh.
like the best. Like the best. Going to award
Oh,
shows is the best, honestly. Premieres, award shows, love it.
oh
Miss it.
yeah.
COVID fucked me, but yeah,
I'm so sorry.
yeah. But it's a whole thing, and but I think even more so is getting to actually watch your work grow. Like,
Absolutely.
doing that. And by the way, my daughter is in the YouTube chat and says, "Hi, Jen." Her name's Hermione.
Oh, oh, sweet. Hello, hello.
Yeah. So, one person you've worked with here that you were over the moon about, you mentioned Alicia Silverstone.
Yes.
We all
Barb.
know her best as Cher Horowitz in Clueless, or as one of the young women in the Aerosmith videos with Liv Tyler, or it's she's Batgirl for fuck's sake. Alicia
Absolutely.
Silverstone, like what was that like when you found out that you were going to be working with Alicia?
Oh my gosh. Again, it was just with Jennifer Reeder, it's always the most random thing. You just never expect that to be coming your way. I got a call in the winter on like a Saturday, and Jennifer sent me a script and she's like, I'm working on this new film. I'm putting a couple of singing parts in it. And there's this really cool character and she sings this one spot, and I'm really excited to tell you that you're going to be working with Alicia Silverstone. And I screamed into the phone and dropped the phone because I was like, are you kidding me? Because I would always tell Jennifer, and I've told all my girlfriends, there are two women that I can't pass from this earth and not work with in some capacity. And one was Alicia Silverstone, and the other is Winona Ryder. I mean, she's my muse,
Oh,
my
yes.
goddess. Right, because we're 80s and 90s girls. Like that's our jam. Those are our girls, our imaginary best friends. And so I just was beside myself. I couldn't believe it. And what was really cool is her scenes. So I was doing a different role this time. I was just arranging some music for the live music. So it was a lot of solo or duet or trio parts. And true to Jennifer form, they were these fantasy moments, and with Alicia, I did spend quite a lot of time with her on getting her part of like a trio and then her solo part ready, because she's everything you would expect. She's just a goddess. She's very professional but very down to earth, very approachable. She's very musical. She actually has a lot of training with music, and she shared some hilarious stories with me. And she has a sweet voice, and she was so generous and so great to work with, but she wanted to rehearse a lot. And so I did spend a lot of time, sometimes it was getting calls. Jump in the van right now. We're gonna meet you here because you have to meet Alicia here and you're gonna work with her for 20 minutes on her song. I'm like, oh, okay. And so it was just being whisked away here, there, or randomly meeting her at a hotel. So sorry, by the way, the animals are fighting
No
in my
worries.
office. I'm so sorry for that disruption.
They were filtered out.
Oh, okay, thank goodness. But yeah, it was surreal. And she was just very approachable and just prepared and just everything you would expect, just a really down to earth wonderful woman. But the sad thing is that none of our scenes made it past the cutting room floor.
Oh no.
Which is so
No.
sad, but it's true to show business. Lightning
Mm.
did not strike 4 times. I'm so excited that it worked 3 times in a row, but this is a great example of it not working in the sense that test audiences were freaked out because it was so effective and it was so creepy and so random, like these dream sequences, and then this one little kid who had this great part, but it was very exaggerated and maybe a little too mature. It just freaked the audiences out. And so it just did not
Listen,
make the final cut.
if we ever got Alicia Silverstone on this show, I don't know that I could be able to talk.
Oh God, I
Like,
was so nervous. I really
yeah.
hope that one day you can find your way to each other. I'm gonna send those positive vibes to the Hurricane Girls. But I literally, when I first saw her, she looks exactly like you would expect her to.
Hmm.
Exactly the same as she is on film, not, she's totally unassuming, but I wasn't prepared for her to be dressed. Like I thought Cher was gonna come walking in the room, like subconsciously. Like, aren't you expecting her to walk in her little outfit and the hair blowing in the
Hmm.
wind
And
with the
that,
shopping bags
as
or something?
if.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think subconsciously I was waiting for that. And so when she came in just normal street clothes and a hat and some glasses because she had just been walking across Lakeshore Drive, and she was so normal, it freaked me out. And I found myself like nervous, just she was so normal. I'm used to working with loonies in Hollywood, they're everywhere, but she was
Mhm.
so normal. It was a little off-putting for a moment, and I had to adjust myself. I was like, oh my God, Alicia Silverstone. Oh, it was a
I,
lot.
we've managed to book some pretty I think some pretty impressive guests. Got two of them still here with me right here, but like, just some of the people that we've been able to talk to and that we are going to be talking to, I think it'd be great, but we're still working our way up to the A-list, I think here. Not that
Ooh.
you're not the A-list, because you are, like,
That's so
literally.
kind of you to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, our main focus here on this show, and the reason we brought this show together was to bring together women's voices. That's
Mhm.
why we've got women like of this caliber on our panel, women, who are historians, who are or therapists, who are writers, and who are singers, and who are just I'm damn proud of the show that we've assembled here.
Oh.
But also bringing on people who are working in the industry, like in doing things like that. I mean, it's got to be a little bit different being a woman and being trying to be in the Hollywood or the
Oh,
film
yeah,
industry.
absolutely. Yeah, it's very difficult, and it's such a pleasure to watch women like Alicia Silverstone getting their second act and making a second name for themselves in indie. Seeing Winona Ryder, seeing Demi Moore, all these wonderfully talented women that we grew up watching their work, and then to see them um, enjoy a second act and look amazing doing it because they take care of themselves is really wonderful because women, as we all know, have historically been treated like crap. Because I'm kind of my only experience with film, I'm on like the outside circle. I'm on the outskirts and I'm behind the camera. So I can't say I've ever experienced any kind of abuse or mistreatment. I'm one of the very few lucky ones. But it's tough for women, whether they're in front of the camera or behind. Female directors still put up with a lot of shit. I've seen a lot of female crew be mistreated by men and women. And so it's a joy to see that at least there's a little bit of ground being gained in this new century with, actresses who, what, 5 years ago would have been told that their career in film had expired and they're enjoying
Mhm.
some additional success. And that at least is exciting.
Well, if I look at again watching going back to Knives and Skin, like when I looked at that, it's like it's got a very Tarantino feel to it, kind of, I think. And thought to myself, I wonder if Tarantino's name had been attached to this instead of Jennifer Reeder. If Jennifer Reeder had been, Jim Reeder or somebody like that,
Yeah.
would the budget have been bigger? Would there been more, I don't know, I don't want to say star power because everybody in there was putting their whole heart into it. But like,
Mhm.
would it have been promoted more? Would it have been like, hailed as, as being super cerebral? Everybody's like Quentin Tarantino's a genius when I'm not convinced one way or another whether he's a genius or whether
Mhm.
he's just fucking insane. Like,
All of the above?
yeah,
Or all of the
perhaps all of
above.
the above, but like I wonder there in, if more manly names had been attached, if
Right.
things like this would get noticed, like not that it hasn't, but it is kind of hard to have a female-led production
Mhm.
with female staffers and a largely female cast that's
Absolutely.
sort of aimed towards women and
Absolutely.
to see it get the push that it needs to get. Like I think that those kind of films make pretty good cult or indie films. But if there were a
Absolutely.
man attached to it, it'd probably be in theaters everywhere.
You know what? I could not agree more. When this project was originally pitched to me, a lot of producers were saying this is the female Donnie Darko, and I was really hoping that it would be embraced that way. A couple of critics have said that it's Donnie
Mhm.
Darko and meets shades of something else. But it's starting to take on cult status. And I just really hope that once people explore Jennifer's work a little bit more, because she's done, she did a couple of I don't know if it's the film or the episodes. I feel so bad because I'm like messing it up, but she did VHS. She's done a couple of shows, she's done some bigger films. And I feel once people see her work through that lens, that perhaps they'll start, you know, doing more research and watching her indie stuff, which is really groundbreaking. And I'm hoping that's going to build a new generation of female fans and, you know, get it some cult status. Because, you know, Donnie Darko, when it first came out, was a little, oh, you know, but it took a few years for it to catch on. And so I'm really hoping that for her and for this film and her future films, that it really gets the acknowledgement that it deserves.
Well, we've talked a lot about Jennifer Reeder's work right now, but you are doing some things of your own now, and you have your own studio and students. So tell us a little bit about that.
I do. So about, oh, I want to say 15 years ago, I started my own voice and piano studio. And it's I started with, you know, voice and piano students, and then, you know, broadened it to composition and conducting and what have you. And then over time, it would evolve in different ways, or sometimes there were a couple of years like the pandemic, I had to shut it down completely, and then brought it back and revived it. And then back in, I want to say 2023, you know, had to shut the studio down because I had terrible flooding and water damage, destroyed the whole thing, destroyed my teaching piano, all this jazz. So the studio has had different incarnations, but it's back up again. And over the years, I've enjoyed working with students from novice to professional. And I've really watched people take on these great careers. I've been lucky enough to help you know, nurture the careers of some Disney folks, some
Let's name names here.
I wish I could, but they make you sign those
No.
NDAs.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
and they'll come after me. I know, it's not fair.
I'm super curious.
I know.
You can tell us after when they air. And don't worry, discretion is key.
There you go. Discretion is key. Absolutely.
Discretion.
Yes. But and then some American Idol contestants, and then there were some other American shows. I didn't want talent shows aren't my favorite thing, but a lot of my students were on several of them. And then
Any in the early seasons?
yeah, probably the more early seasons. Or there were some in the later seasons. There were, I think, didn't they revive Star Search or something? And one of my students was like a finalist, something like that, just random shows. And then
Am I allowed to ask which American Idols you trained?
unfortunately, I can't because they will kill me. Oh, well, I'd be in trouble. But none of them won. None of them did. Some didn't even make a top 10. Others,
I
you
used
know,
to work with a fair few of them. That's why I was
just a
wondering.
fair
I used to
few.
write for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
Mhm.
No kidding. Oh, so you'd probably know the bigger ones for sure. But
Probably.
it was cool the other day. There's that great director Tom Barrett, and you know, does some real notable work and stuff. And one of my students who I've been working with her the past couple of years. She transitioned from high school into college, and I can say her name, Becca Featherstone, an up and coming young actress. You got to check out her work. She's phenomenal. Beautiful girl. And I was working with her, and then I'm prepping for our lesson. She's supposed to show up in my studio in like 20 minutes. And then she texts me, she's like, Jen, I'm so sorry. We've got to reschedule all of these because I just booked a film with Tom Barrett. And I was like, girl, that made me so proud. I almost cried. Like I thought that's music to my ears. If any, I love it when my students send me notes. I've just signed with so and so, or you know, I'm going to appear on this show, or I got cast in this show, this movie, or you know, this musical theater piece. That just warms my heart, and I'm very lucky to see that. But since a lot of my babies have grown up and a lot of them are now professionals and touring and doing their thing, I'm now open to take on some more students and nurture a new generation. So I'm really excited about it's kind of a reopening this coming fall. I'll be really expanding the studio.
where can anybody who's interested in joining or signing up, where can they do that?
Sure. They can, because remote lessons in a variety of things are available. So you can simply visit my website, jenlennon.com, and it's spelled Jenne, all one word, Lennon as in John Lennon, Lennon.com, and just go to the Lennon Studio Voice and Piano, click on it, and then all of the sign up instructions are there, or you can find it on Facebook or Instagram or some of the other places. So just hit me up.
Sounds good. I'm a little bit past my prime in terms of voice, but I know there are some
Never too
young
late.
vocalists out there. I won't say never. I'll say probably not, but I'll say never. I won't say never, but yeah, anybody out there looking to get a quality education in vocal, I can't imagine any better than this here. So I'm
Oh, thank you
glad
so
that you're
much,
out there doing
Sheila.
that there.
Yeah.
So we are getting very, very close to the end of our show, and usually at about this time, I start giving everybody a chance to say their final thoughts for the night and to plug themselves. So, um, just because she was not nice to me at the beginning of the show, I'm going to start with Hurricane Sim. What's going on with you tonight? What are you thinking to wrap up? You're muted, darling.
I did nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. No,
Actually, Hurricane Sim is why you are on the show tonight, Jen, because she was like, I'm looking for talent, I'm scouting around. But anyway,
Thank you,
Sim.
Sam.
well, of course. Well, like I said, we were talking about that mutual friend earlier, and
Mhm.
um, no, I think like in my line of work, when I work with adults now, but I used to work with kiddos, and when we talk about coping skills with kids, they're not literally over the thousands of patients that I worked with over the time that I worked with kids. Um, it's no exaggeration to say 9 out of 10 of them would identify music as their coping mechanism, their go-to coping mechanism. And so I think
Beautiful.
that what you do is so important because if kids are when we watch movies, it's not just the movie we connect with the music and the soundtracks. There's so many movies I can look back on and maybe I don't remember a plot, but I remember a song. I can pull a song and go, oh yeah, that was in that movie, that was on that soundtrack. There's
Yeah.
and so what you do, especially the reinventing of tracks and kind of manipulating them and changing them, it teaches it on a different level to a new generation. When we talked about like modern English, right? Modern English is from the 80s, and so kind of reintroducing that now in a way that gets kids to listen to that and then go back and do, their research on what they were before. I think that can't be understated enough about how important that is. So I think just listening to you and the evolution of how you've kind of, where you started and what you're doing now, I think is just fascinating. And I'm just so impressed by the body of work that you've done and what you're going to continue to do. I think it's just fascinating, and I'm very, very glad that you exist in the world.
Thank you, Sim. I'm really glad that you existed. Thank you for all the work you do with those kiddos. Not easy.
It's not, no. Mary, your turn for final thoughts and plugging yourself.
Okay, so as you had said earlier, I am the Salty Historian on social media, and having the honor of being able to meet someone, a woman who is succeeding in a field like this, is so amazing because I spend so much time being angry because the repeated theme is women are erased, minimized, their work is stolen, they are not given credit, and to
Absolutely.
see somebody with their name out there and making history in a way that isn't being erased and that maybe I can write about in the future is completely amazing. I'm stumbling because it's just unbelievable because it is incredibly frustrating because all my body of work focuses on elevating our foremothers' voices back to the pages of history where they should have been all along. I cover women from around the world, and it is the same thing regardless of the country, regardless of the time period. So thank you for like letting me be here. This is incredibly cool. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Mary. Oh my gosh, it's an honor as well. Thank you for the work you do for the sisterhood. So important.
She tells some of the best stories, and some of the stories, people that I think the tagline is that this is someone that you should know about, but you probably don't. And it's always women who have been behind the scenes of history.
Always.
Yeah. Abby, like yourself, final thought.
I'd say it's a little, my final thought is kind of a mix of Sims and Marys, where, the importance, the transformative power of art, of music, of cinema, of film, of being able to tell women's stories. And like Mary was talking about, like when it comes to women's stories, it gets shoved into the corner. The closest we get is, a man telling what they think a woman's story is like. And I know for me, that affected me growing up, learning to actually come into my own and not just through the lens of how a dude sees me. And to watch this wave of just transformative, beautiful, intelligently done art that is telling the women's story is so beautiful to see.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you,
and where
Abby.
can we
I can't wait
find
to
you,
read your book.
Abby?
Oh, and well, the number one place you can find me is wherever they're selling books. I've got a handful of books already out. Basically wherever you want to buy a book online, that's where it is. And The Year of Dating Myself is coming out July 8th, and pre-orders are already up and available.
Amazing. I can't wait to buy it. I'm getting on the list.
Listen, this book, I've been recommending it to every woman, and it doesn't have to be about dating. Like I was talking to a group of women at work they were like, you know what, I buy my kids stuff and then my husband stuff, and then I just don't buy anything for myself. I don't do anything for myself, and I'm like, I got a book for you. Like, yeah, we're talking about dating yourself. I followed this woman's advice this last weekend, had the best fucking weekend I've had in a long time. Took myself out on a date and had a goddamn good time, and I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So Morgan, Momo, final thought for tonight.
That was amazing. If you run into a young up and coming opera singer named Hannah Jones, that's my little cousin.
Oh my goodness. That's beautiful. I'm so glad she's continuing that rich tradition that you have in your family. That's amazing.
She's an opera singer. Matter of fact, she had her first professional photo shoot. She's been on Good Morning America like twice. Do you know a John Holiday from The Voice?
Probably seen clips and know his voice. Yeah, I have to relook it up though.
So not only is he my Sigma brother, he's also my homeboy's big brother, and that's Hannah's mentor.
My goodness,
It's
Momo,
world after
you
all.
are just surrounding yourself with all these musical people. That's wonderful.
Listen, don't get me started. I literally met the Brat and Big Booty Judy not too long ago. It's on my TikTok.
Yes.
I love
Not Big Booty Judy though. Listen.
Her name was Jessica, but yeah, that's her alias, the real Big Booty Judy, but her original name is Jessica.
Wonderful. You're fabulous.
Jen, do you have any final thoughts you want to share before we sign off?
Oh, I just want to thank you all for sharing this space with me today and for showing up and being your authentic selves. And thank you for being such kind and courteous guests. I cannot wait to learn more about all of you and the work you do, because I'm going to do my homework after this and probably stalk you all virtually. But thanks for, letting me talk a little bit. And I just can't wait to hear more episodes of the Hurricane Girls.
Well, we can't wait to have you on board again. Please feel free to come back anytime you are now. Honorary Hurricane Jen. Yes. Welcome to the Pantheon. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can find me on TikTok at Sheila Chappelle. Otherwise, you can find me here on YouTube at Hurricane Girls. You can find me hosting Good Girls Gone Godless here very soon. Looking forward to that. And we're just out here being women and being loud about it. And whatever may come, there's going to be an attempt to silence us, and it's not going to succeed because we are way too motherfucking loud for them to silence. And if we all stand together, they don't stand a chance. And we're already, like, the genie is out of the bottle. We're not going back. That's what we've been saying this whole time. We are not going back.
Not
Period.
going back. Not going back.
Not going back.
Not going back. Not going back.
I do want to mention again that this content is CAN credentialed, Creator Accountability Network, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. And, we like to stay in that lane because we do not want to cause any harm in the community. In fact, we want to cause the exact opposite. We want to uplift the voice of women here, and that is what we do here every week at Hurricane Girls. Next week, Lucy Kaplansky, folk singer extraordinaire. If you have a chance, check her out on Spotify, especially the new single God Will, which is just fucking incredible. We're going to enjoy visiting with her next week. And she's got a lot more coming up. And hopefully one day Alicia Silverstone. Here, I'm putting that out in the universe. I talked to
Get
Jennifer
out in the
Esposito.
universe. It'll randomly come. It somehow works that way.
I talked to Jennifer Esposito a couple of weeks ago, who's another actress I freaking adore. And we're working constantly to get more content here for you. We are on gcpr.live. This show will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as soon as I can get it uploaded. And we'll be back again next week with more of the same foolery and fuckery and being women, and like I said, being women and being loud about it. So for all of my girls here, Hurricane Jen, Hurricane Sim, Hurricane Mary, Hurricane Momo, and Hurricane Abby, I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, saying, chin up, tits out, ladies.